Hello, everyone. Leaders, what to do when you have a low performing employee. My name is Melissa. I'm an executive coach and a management consultant. And today we're talking about a very big question that comes up all the time. So in the work that I do, I work with leaders such as yourself, and I help them build high performing teams. So if you are on the path of building a high performing team, or if you're just wanting to maintain the status quo and you're realizing that there's someone on your team that is struggling, it can be difficult to figure out what to do. So joining me today is Kelsey-Ann. Kelsey-Ann is part of my team, and we're going to talk about this subject a little bit together, and there is a very exciting opportunity for you. So, where to start? There's so much to talk about here.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start about talking about the fact that leadership is really, really hard.
Right. It's not as easy as it sounds. It's not as wrapped up and tied with a bow. There's a lot of nitty gritty that you got to get in, pull up your sleeves and really get into the dirt, right? It's usually leadership, and that's what I've realized. It's not cushy job. Like, it's not rainbows and sunshine.
And I think we have been exposed to a lot of beautiful leadership concepts that are really, really exciting. And when we're thinking about stepping up into that position, we kind of have this idea of who we're going to be and how we're going to be different and all the beautiful things that we're going to do. And when we step into that position, we quickly realize that it's not so easy. You have pressures from all sides, especially if you're in middle management, and people just don't follow. Just because you're given a title, just because you're stepping up, just because even when they like you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to follow your direction or that they're going to show up or they're going to perform their best. And oftentimes we get promoted based on our personal performance, right? We're really good. We're super productive. We get noticed. Our intrinsic motivation, all of that personal productivity really puts a spotlight on us. And then when you're in that position of leadership, that personal productivity is no longer what's going to help you succeed. So what got you here isn't going to get you to that leadership effectiveness.
Totally.
So what do you do when you're in that position? You are being your best, you're trying your hardest, you're dealing with all of those competing priorities. You're making those big decisions every day that are impacting people. There's always something that you're compromising when you're making those decisions. So there's always someone who's not happy. What do you do? And there's something that comes into play is we step into that position and we are good people. We want to do good things. And all of a sudden we're put in this position of not feeling so great.
Mm-hmm.
And being concerned that we have to be the bad guy. So one of the things that comes up a lot in the work that I do is that need to have those hard conversations. And we need to have those hard conversations. But how do you do that without being the bad guy? And that's what I equip my clients with. So Kelsey-Ann, what do you tell me a bit of what's coming up for you as I'm talking about this?
Personally, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I'm not a leader. They do hard work, right? It's really hard. And when you make that shift from, that personal productivity, I'm, employee number one, I'm employee of the month, I'm doing my thing. And then you get promoted into that supervisory position or that manager position. That usually doesn't come with training. That they just expect that you're going to know how to lead people effectively. And that's not always true. Just because you were able to do your job and move that ball that's in your lane forward doesn't mean that you can automatically help other people do that. There's a different kind of communication with other people that may not be as effective that you can kind of negotiate with your own self. So I think that's what's coming up for me is like, how do you make that switch when you're, given that promotion and become that manager and not really knowing, okay, well, now I have, there's now 5 or 10 or however many people behind me. I have to lead them. I don't know what I'm doing. And I can't let them know I don't know what I'm doing. Or I know
Mhm.
pieces, but I don't know all of them.
Yeah, exactly. And leadership is a people business. And that's my specialty, right? People, the people side of business. And in making that switch, what's really exciting. So, the good news, I'll give you a few pieces of good news here. So, the good news is you can be effective without needing to play the bad guy. You can be the type of leader you want to be and still have those hard conversations in a way that feels good to you and your employee.
Mhm.
And I am giving a 5-day free workshop to show you how. So in this workshop, exactly what you were talking about, Kelsey Ann, is leaders have told me that they got a whole new perspective on what leadership was, and that shift in mindset from manager to leader. And so this 5-day workshop, we're going to be talking about, it's called the Influential Leader. So if that is you, this invitation is for you. And we're going to be walking through the steps of how to connect with and engage employees so that they can be at their best. So this works well if you have a low performing employee right now, a situation that you're dealing with, or if you have good employees and you know that they're capable of greatness,
Mhm.
or if you're wanting to equip yourself for the future, because these practices that I'm showing you all through the week can be starting right now. So you don't have to wait for an opportunity to deal with, a
Mhm.
disengaged employee. You can start the practices right now.
Mhm.
And so therefore you're building your resilience, your performance resilience, if you will, and
Mhm.
preventing future problems. All right, so the 5-day workshop, the Influential Leader, is happening when?
It is happening May 15th to 19th, and registration is open. So I'm going to drop the link so that people can register. And it is a pre-registration. Pre-registration is required, so we can send you out that Zoom link. And it's exciting because we've done this a couple times, and every time it's tweaked and it's, there's new pieces added to it. And we've helped over 400 leaders. So that's super exciting to know that
Mhm.
400 leaders have that, that magic, if you will, your unique way to dealing with leadership, and putting those people first.
Exactly. And a ton of great feedback. So this was a workshop that I put together using, so I'm sharing the tools that I use in my own practice and that I use with my clients. So I'm sharing the tools that I have created myself and the system that I use. So you're getting, inside information that you can steal and use for yourself. And the success that have come from this workshop is amazing. I've heard people get results as of day 3, and that's just 1 hour a day. So you join me during lunchtime, so you can go ahead and grab your lunch and come join me so you can, participate, get the learning, get results without losing or skipping a beat at work.
Hmm.
You can do it during your lunchtime. And, things like I thought I was going to have to fire this person. And I was able to get to the heart of it and turn this thing around. Things like I could feel the mood was a little bit heavy and I didn't know what to do about it. And I started, connecting with every member of my team and using your system. And now my whole team is smiling and the
Mhm.
mood is completely shifted. Um, things, restructuring how the team is working, how we're working together, how we're collaborating.
Mhm.
These are just a few of the feedback that I've received, but every time we do this workshop, we receive, 20, 30, 40, 50 messages about what people have been able to accomplish. And we're going to share some of those messages through the week here with you. So
Mhm.
you get a sense of what this workshop is about. So what you will learn inside the workshop, I think that's important to know. What is this going to look like? So for an hour a day, you're going to join me over 5 days. We're going to tackle really three big things. So the first thing we're going to tackle is how to identify the early signs of employee disengagement so that you can stop it in its tracks. The easiest, the easiest point to turn things around is as they're slipping, as people are like slipping out of engagement into a neutral zone. It's much easier to shift at that point. So I want you to
Mhm.
be able to spot it and to take action before it becomes a problem.
Mhm.
The second thing we're going to tackle is how you can measure what this situation is. So I'm going to give you an assessment tool so that you can assess your situation and you'll be able to tell the potential. So can I turn this thing around? And how much effort is it going to need? And what kind of approach
Mhm.
does this situation need? So this is going to be a whole new way of looking at what you're dealing with. I'm going to give you kind of like a new pair of glasses to look at your situation. And that's going to give you a whole lot of direction and a whole lot of intel as to how much effort and is it worth it?
Mhm.
One of the things that we get stuck in is we want to save everyone. Raise your hand if you're that person. I believe in everyone and I want everyone to succeed. And sometimes it's hard to deal with the fact that maybe this is not right.
Mhm.
Maybe this situation doesn't is not something that is worth the energy and saving because it's not, you can't turn it around.
Mhm.
There's a different route here. So I want to make sure that you're investing your time exactly in the right way, in the right approach for the right amount of time. And then lastly, I'm going to share with you my 3-step influence system. So once you've figured out the type of situation that you're dealing with, now you're going to start moving towards connecting with the person and really engaging that intrinsic motivation so that they can start performing.
Mhm.
And there's a very specific way that we do this. So, how does that sound?
That sounds super excited. I'm super excited to be hosting it again. The feedback that we get from the leaders, it's so great because we block off, and that's something that I did want to mention. We block off that week so that we are with the participants. If they need questions, you are there to send the DM to say, hey, Melissa, I'm having a problem with X employee. Um, here's the scenario. How do I do A, B, and C? And
Exactly.
then, you are that coach in their back pocket for that week to say, okay, this is how, like you ask them some questions and you get some information and then you walk them through this process behind the scenes as well as, during the workshop. So the people that in my experience with this workshop, the people that have taken advantage of your time in the workshop as well as outside of the workshop, so DMing you behind the scenes, they have gotten so much out of this workshop that they're like, how is this for free? Like, I don't even understand. You're
Mm.
giving away so much value. So it's really exciting to hear pieces like that when, you know, when people are getting that from this free workshop.
Exactly. And it's such a pleasure to be able to take that week and just focus on it. Like I know at the end of the week I always have this like, oh, but it's been so fun. That feeling of like, oh, we're closing, but the wins that come out of that week is just so satisfying that we have decided that this is something that we are going to do one more time.
Hmm.
So we're blocking off the full week. I hope that you can block off an hour a day on your schedule to join us. And that is the week of May
May
15th.
May 15th to 19th. Yeah.
All right, perfect. And all you need to do is register. So once you go to the link, you register, you'll get an email with your Zoom link with all you need to know. You'll get a reminder just before the workshop begins, and then you'll get access to replays throughout. There is also a very exciting workbook that comes with this workshop. So the workbook is amazing. And I'm saying it because this is what people have told me.
Yeah.
So the workbook becomes your blueprint. So as you're going through the workshop, you're able to design your path forward, and people take the workbook to bring back to their team. They use it for employee coaching. They use it for leadership development. They use it for in all kinds of ways. All right. So you'll want access to the workbook, and you get access on day one. So you have to show up live on day one to get access to this wonderful workbook.
Hmm. Yeah, leaders have loved it. It's allowed them to kind of take what and help apply what they're learning within the workshop and apply it back to their team. So there's been some huge wins, and people saying that they're reusing that workbook in multiple, not just during the workshop, but throughout the year. Whenever they have something come up, they go back to, it's a reference tool for them now.
Yeah, exactly. And it will be truly workshop style. So to get the most out of this, show up, be present, participate. So there's going to be some participation, as in it's active learning. So yes, show up with your lunch and show up with pen and paper, ready to think, rethink, take notes, participate, ask questions. That's how
Hmm.
you're going to get the most out of it. And you're going to get a direct line to me all week to be able to have some behind the scenes customization.
Hmm.
And that's it for now. I'm
Hmm.
excited. I hope you are too. And register now. Seats are limited. So I know we have a few weeks before the workshop, but the seats do fill up quite quickly. And we've already seen a slew of registrations come in just in the past 2 days. So please go ahead, save your seat, and I will see you May 15th. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.